Hello, good evening. Welcome to North West Tonight with Kelly Foran. Our top story. After the Reform Party's big election wins, what can we expect as they take over their first North West Council? The party took control of Lancashire County Council. Today, they announced their leader, Stephen Atkinson, a former Tory councillor. Also tonight. DCI or AI, how Cheshire Police are using AI to tackle stalking. Cumbria Wildlife Trust want to restore the peatlands which are drying out and dying out. Peer pressure calls for action as Southport's famous landmark remains closed 3 years on.
First Division Everton kick off from left to right against Second Division Blackburn Rovers at Goodison Park.
Moving out after 123 years, Everton get ready to say goodbye to Goodison.
All my memories are here. Been coming here since I was 15 and I'm 65 now.
1962-63 season. My dad brought us and that. And I've been coming ever since, worse luck.
And for most of us today, especially these cows, a lovely start to the week. But what about the thunderstorms? Join me at the end of the programme and we'll talk through all the details.
It's been 10 days since Reform UK swept to power in Lancashire. It'll be the first time the party has run a local authority here in the North West. This afternoon, the party announced their new leader. So what can we expect from him and from Reform? Well, Matt Trewin is outside County Hall in Preston. Matt.
Well, yes, there were big wins for Reform right across the country, and that no doubt has rattled the government. We've seen today's promise to cut immigration numbers. That is a direct response. And here in Lancashire, well, from absolutely nowhere, Nigel Farage's party took a staggering 53 of the 84 council seats here at County Hall. They are by far and away the largest party, and they will now control a whole host of services such as social care, planning, education and schools, highways. So what are they going to do with that power? Well, we know that nationally, Reform has said that its councils will not accept any more migrants or asylum seekers, although that policy is organised and controlled by national government, so it's unclear whether they will have the power to stop it. Nigel Farage has also promised Donald Trump-style cuts to council budgets. Some critics will say there's already been a lot of funding reductions over the years to local councils, so how will that work? And then there's a promise to block any new green energy projects. And again, we might find that that brings the county council in direct dispute with the national government.
And Matt, tell us about the man who will now lead Lancashire.
Well, yeah, in the last hour or so, Reform has elected local businessman Stephen Atkinson to be their new group leader, which means he will become the leader of Lancashire County Council in just a few weeks' time. And a short while ago, he came out here to give a statement, and I asked him if he would be able to deliver on those national party promises.
We've got national policy that you're all aware of, but we will be considered in our approach. Will not be reckless, but we have a clear focus to deliver on those issues. The British people are fed up. They've been put to the back of the queue for too long, and this is a chance to make a difference. And then what will happen in 2029, Nigel Farage will make a much bigger difference.
Now, Stephen Atkinson does have political experience. He was the Conservative leader of Ribble Valley Council before defecting to Reform UK just a few months before the local elections. And, you know, he said previously that one of his main priorities is fixing the roads across Lancashire, and he also is pushing for a public referendum looking at the future of the county council itself. Now, we did want to put some more questions to Stephen Atkinson today, but we're told that he's not doing any interviews until he is formally elected as Lancashire Council leader. And really, Kelly, that is when the work for him and his colleagues really begin when they take up their new positions of power here at County Hall.
OK, Matt in Preston, thank you. Now, police in Cheshire will be the first in the country to use AI to investigate stalking offences. It's hoped the tool will help speed up investigations and lead to more convictions. One victim who was violently attacked by her stalker says if it had been used in her case, it might have stopped the perpetrator sooner. Our political editor, Annabelle Tiffin, has this report.
The fact that you've been watched, that somebody's watched your every move, that people have become obsessed with you in an unnatural manner is certainly something that is something you could never imagine and something that changes you as a person.
Amy has asked to be kept anonymous. She's still fearful of her attacker. She suffered from a prolonged campaign of stalking, repeated harassment at work, on social media, culminating in a violent assault.
I've suffered lifelong impact in relation to leaving the house, in relation to activities that I once enjoyed but no longer feel confident to do. It took a lot of me away from the person that I was, to the point that I can't remember who I am.
Amy was helped by Cheshire Constabulary's Harm Reduction Unit. She credits it with saving her life. And it now has a new tool to fight this insidious crime, AI technology.
In Cheshire, there is 10 incidents a day that are logged for stalking. So, this is a crime that, unfortunately, a growing number of people are experiencing too often, and it is a horrible crime.
As Police and Crime Commissioner, Dan Price bid for a government grant and has now received £300,000 to fund the technology. Wading through mounds of evidence manually is a lengthy process. This AI tool will begin to analyse a case even as the victim is speaking to a police call handler. It's hoped it will identify stalking behaviour and piece together evidence much faster. But can the technology ever replace good old-fashioned police work?
The detectives that are so dedicated to ensuring that they're investigating stalking, it will never ever replace that. But what we hope is it will support the processes that we've got in place, and it will mean quicker and swifter justice for victims.
Cheshire is the first force to use this AI tool in stalking cases, but it has been used by other forces to investigate different crimes.
What they found was that it was 25 times more effective than an individual detective. So that is remarkable.
Had things been picked up sooner, then who knows, things could have been potentially prevented. But anything that reduces manpower and allows these specialist people to support victims is certainly something that I would advocate for.
If the programme is successful here, it's hoped it'll be rolled out across the country. Annabelle Tiffin, BBC North West Tonight in Cheshire.
United Utilities is urging its customers to use water wisely after the driest start to the year across England since 1956. Their reservoirs are currently only 69% full compared to over 90% this time last year. The company says taking just 1 minute less in the shower would save 12 litres. Tributes have been paid to a Chester Rugby Union player who died after collapsing at a half marathon. John Devereux was running in the Great Bristol Run on Sunday when he collapsed and died later in hospital. The cause of death will be determined after a post-mortem examination. His club says he was a talented athlete and his energy, spirit and sportsmanship left a lasting impression on all who knew him. Hundreds of people have paid their respects this morning at the funeral of Rochdale and Tranmere player Joe Thompson. He died last month, aged 36, after being diagnosed with cancer for a third time. The father of two successfully fought multiple illnesses to return to the pitch, but in April last year, he announced blood cancer had returned and spread to his lungs. Now, these peat moorlands cover a huge part of the northwest, from the Peak District up through the Pennines and into the Lake District. They're important for wildlife and plant life and also perform a key role in limiting the effects of climate change. But today, the government's environmental body, Natural England, claimed that more than 3/4 of peat moorlands are drying out and could be in danger. Now, let's join our environment correspondent, Judy Hobson, who has more on this. Tell us, Judy, What else do we know about it?
Well, it was new mapping data that was used, and it showed that 80% of our moorland is dry and damaged. And it's really worrying news, as you say, for the environment and the amount of carbon we emit into it. Now, over the years here on North West Tonight, we've covered lots of stories about peat restoration work, normally carried out by the Cumbria or Lancashire Wildlife Trusts. Huge attempts are made all the time to re-wet peatland. You can dig trenches with water in, you can replant mosses that retain water. It's slow work though, and it really is a mammoth task. Now, here in our region, the most extensive areas of peatland are in the Lake District and on the Pennine Moors, and scientists this time use satellite imagery and artificial intelligence to create, if you like, a complete map of England's peatlands, the most complete to date that we have.
And Judy, how does peat have an impact on the environment?
Well, it's good for the environment because it sequests, it takes in carbon and it locks it in. The problem is if it's damaged or it's dry, it does exactly the opposite and it throws it back out into the atmosphere. As well as helping to tackle climate change, if you have very wet peatlands, they prevent flooding down the bottom of valleys, they improve water qualities, and as you say, they support rare wildlife, like 25 different species of butterfly. Now, peat was damaged during the Industrial Revolution due to pollution, but our climate, our changing climate, is now really taking its toll in drying out the peat. Now, this prolonged dry weather makes the ground a bit like a tinderbox, and if it catches fire, the flames can spread quickly and it's really difficult to put out. That's why there are all those warnings about not lighting barbecues up on moorland during this hot weather. Don't have picnics, don't drop glass, because glass can ignite the ground as well. So Natural England are saying that this new data should help us at least target the restoration work.
OK, Judy Hobson, thanks very much indeed. A police officer from Tameside is backing a campaign to encourage male victims of domestic abuse to seek help because of the abuse he suffered at the hands of his former partner. The man, who wants to remain anonymous, says he suffered years of being belittled, emotionally and financially abused, harassed, spat upon and having contact with his children restricted. He finally got help and wants others to do the same. In Mairead Smith's report, we've changed his name to David.
It was a long, drawn-out, challenging relationship that started when we were very young. And after a long time and after children, it became clear that it wasn't a safe place to be anymore. You know, she would spit at me. She would slap or strike me in different ways. Being told things such as man up, get on with it, name calling. Sexual prowess was ultimately an easy target because it's an easy way to destroy somebody's confidence.
What impact did the abuse have on other relationships in your life, like friends and family?
I wouldn't see my family for months and months on end. I wouldn't see certain friends. And it was very much just trying to make it out that the only person I needed was her. After any episode, there'd then be a love bombing session of, oh, I'm really sorry, this won't happen again. And it would seem great for very short periods of time, but then it would start again and it'd come back 10 times worse.
David eventually sought help and was referred to the Bridges Partnership, a domestic abuse support service funded by Tameside Council.
Men do not have to suffer in silence, neither do women, but men tend to. 1 in 3 men do not come forward. So our key message is, please do not suffer in silence. Come forward and get the help and support you need.
What does the support look like here in Tameside for men who are victims of domestic abuse?
There is a lot of support out there which people may not be aware of. Sometimes it's difficult to get hold of, I'm not going to take that away, but there is financial support and also there's accommodation.
David has had counselling and says his life is getting better.
What I've got from it is, firstly, that I'm not alone, and nor is anybody who's going through that sort of horrible, horrible abuse. I am in a new relationship, I have a new partner, we are very happy together. So yeah, there is life after abuse. You can't let this define you as an individual, and you can't let this impact your future. And I'm so much happier now.
Maria Smith, BBC Northwest Tonight, Tameside.
And thank you to David for sharing that story with us. Now, for a quick look at some of the other stories happening in the Northwest tonight. A woman's died in a house fire in Lancashire. The fire broke out at a house at Rydal Court in Morecambe yesterday. Footballer Jesse Lingard's granddad will face a retrial on charges of historical sexual abuse. Kenneth Lingard stood trial at Liverpool Crown Court, but the jury were discharged earlier this month. And have a look at this chap's story. Christopher Jones. Now, he began growing food in his back garden after losing his job as a security guard during COVID. He gives it away locally, and let's just say it's gone from strength to strength. So you can read more about those stories and plenty of others on the BBC News website, or if you've got it on the app. Now, it has been a lovely, gorgeous day outside, hasn't it? Perhaps a day to be enjoying the glorious seaside. If you've been to Southport recently, you will have noticed that there is still no public access to this. Its famous pier. It's been closed since the end of 2022. Now, the cost of making it safe is estimated at £13 million, but the money is proving hard to come by. Now, the local MP is proposing a new body to preserve all the nation's piers. Here's Claire Hamilton.
Enjoy an ice cream, soak up the sun and the singing, and stroll down the pier, all part of a day out in Southport, apart from the last one.
It's historic. Everybody comes to Southport, they want to walk along the pier, even on New Year's Day, and like in the middle of winter we're open, but there's nothing now.
Built in 1860, the pier survived this fire in the early 1930s, war and the constant exposure to seawater, but its health and safety fears which saw it shuttered in 2022.
Disappointed because it's a landmark, isn't it, of the town?
Well, that brings in a lot of people. The pier. I think it's definitely something that people come to see. We certainly miss it, don't we?
For this MP, the pier is a symbol of Victorian ingenuity, but he says it shouldn't just be a thing of the past. It should tie into a renewed support for Britain's seaside towns with a designated government minister.
A lot of the coastal towns across the UK, we've got similar issues. Our high streets have seen better days. The tourism economy isn't what it used to be. They're not replicated on inland towns and inland villages themselves. So I think what would be really useful is having a minister specifically for towns on the coast.
Serena's the fifth generation of her family to work on Southport's seafront.
We're all working together to get the pier opened. The council have submitted an application for 10 million for the Lottery Heritage Fund. It was a not yet, not now, but they're going to resubmit it, and then hopefully we'll get some funding and we can start moving forward. But there's so much more to Southport than the pier.
The Victorians couldn't jump on a plane for cheap flights to sunnier climes. Southport and other towns along our coast are repositioning themselves.
It's not a local landmark, this is a national landmark, this national heritage. The seaside holidays are part of English heritage, and I think we need to preserve that. I think we've got everything in place, we've got planning permission, we've got a plan, we've got a team, we just need the funding.
It's hard to find anyone in Southport who doesn't think the pier should be saved. Perhaps reports of the death of the seaside town are exaggerated.
It's just nice, isn't it? Nice little walk round and nice ice cream.
It is a real landmark, isn't it? And I really fancy an ice cream now, but it'll have to wait because we've got sport and we're getting a bit more drama at the end of the Premier League season than we perhaps expected, with Champions League places still up for grabs. And a lot of people, Ian, talking about Liverpool fans giving their own, not exactly the warmest of welcomes.
Yeah, Kelly, it's all getting a little bit awkward at Anfield at the moment, isn't it? Substitute Trent Alexander-Arnold came onto a chorus of boos yesterday. Sections of the fan base not happy with his decision to leave the club that he's been at for most of his life. The manager says fans are entitled to their own opinion, though some supporters have called that booing somewhat embarrassing. I can't believe I cut that intro up. And we'll begin a week of looking ahead to Goodison Park's final week shortly. Stockport County will go into Wednesday's League One playoff semi-final second leg.
On the whole, I thought it was a really good game with good quality from two good teams that are really well matched. I don't think Wednesday will be any different. And that excuse is there for us, or get your heads down and show what you've done over the last 4 or 5. I'm still a believer that it's a 50-50 game between two really good teams. The hard work for us is ahead of us, going and performing in the manner that we did on Saturday again on Wednesday. And if we do that, regardless of the outcome, I'll be super proud of what we've done and what we've achieved.
And we'll be filming at Stockport on Wednesday night as they try to reach that playoff final at Wembley. Speaking of Wembley, Manchester United women are also there in their FA Cup final this Sunday, and it's also where Warrington Wolves are heading for the second year in a row after they beat Lee Leopards in their Challenge Cup semi-final live on the BBC over the weekend. It finished 21-14 at the Totally Wicked Stadium. Toby King there among the try scorers for Warrington, who will play Hull KR in the final. And that takes place on the 7th of June. And Lancashire's dismal start to the County Championship Division 2 season continues. They were beaten by 70 runs yesterday on day 3 of their match at previously winless Northamptonshire. These were the last 2 Lancashire wickets to go in their second innings, with that defeat leaving the pre-season promotion favourites winless and bottom of the table. They host Derbyshire at Emirates Old Trafford on Friday.
Look, there's a lot of things you can look at from a batting point of view. You can get an extra 50, 60, 70, put pressure back for the bowlers. I think every individual within that change room can and should look at themselves to go, how can I improve by 10, 15, 20%, if not more. Yeah.
And with that, I'm on the sofa, and the sport's not quite over yet, Kelly.
No, this might give away what we're talking about next. As we know, this weekend sees the final Premier League game at Goodison Park. It's been Everton Football Club's home for more than a century, and this week we'll be talking to some of the people for whom Goodison is more than just a football ground.
More than a ground. Here's Roger.
First Division Everton kick off from left to right against Second Division Blackburn Rovers at Goodison Park.
Goodison Park has been at the centre of its community since it opened in 1892. A magnet on match days, it's given fans some memorable moments.
It's going to fall for Andy King! Oh, yes, he's got it!
But it's more than just a football ground.
It's a special ground because I think of the close proximity it is to the pitch. But I think also the close proximity it is to people's homes and the small houses around it. It's a great community. It's got a great community built around the club as well.
And community runs through Everton's DNA. Match days are a buzz, with friends and families coming together in a ritual which has spanned the generations.
All of the 5 decades of my life, I've been going regularly to Goodison Park. It's identity, it's family, it's everything, to be honest. It's been at the sort of centre of our lives for all of those decades.
The advent of modern stadia, Everton will move here next season, underlines how dated Goodison has become. But over the decades, it's often led the way in English football.
When it first opened, the supporters who were walking to Goodison Park were walking to the first purpose-built football stadium. A whole host of other firsts have followed over the years as well. The first dugouts, the first undersoil heating, the first matchday programmes, and the first team to have shirts with numbers on the back.
And there were numerous other firsts too, and everyone remembers their first game.
The first time I gone was Everton against Fulham, 1962-63 season. My dad brought us and that, and I've been coming ever since, worse luck.
The atmosphere is just family, it's just good in here.
All my memories are here. Been coming here since I was 15 and I'm 65 now.
The crowd here on a cold night, getting behind honestly the opposition do not like it at all, and it's still good.
Joe's one of a small number of people to both play for and manage Everton. And the stadium is extra special for those who've actually played there.
Goodison Park is a great stadium, you know, iconic. If you ask anybody who's played there, night games, whatever, it's a great atmospheric stadium.
Football can evoke strong emotions, tears even, and they'll be shed when Goodison's final whistle sounds on Sunday. Roger Johnson, BBC North West Tonight.
Ah, so much blue, including the sky. Okay, is it here to stay?
What a segue. Lots of blue skies this week. Today, actually, some of us have seen some rain. Come to that in a minute. Many of us did see blue skies. It was warm. We got 25 degrees in parts of Liverpool. Phil, thanks for sending that one in. Lucy in the Lakes, I loved that photograph. You can't make it out, but they're all sheep underneath that one tree. Thank you for sending those photos in. If you want to send yours in, do follow me on socials or become a BBC Weather Watcher. I mentioned the risk of some of us seeing some rain. Actually, thunderstorms, we have had some lightning strikes today, and that's all because of this area of low pressure. So more especially for parts of South Cheshire and Merseyside, there is a warning in force until 10 o'clock tonight. Once that clears through, high pressure rebuilds and the week will be settled and calm. That's that warning area, few and far between. Unlucky if you see them. They'll die out as we head overnight tonight. It's going to be quite an uncomfortable night, I think. We were well into the sheets last night, my little girl. Temperatures around about 10 to 12 degrees, so uncomfy once again, but mild, so a pleasant start to your day tomorrow morning with decent spells of sunshine. All parts stay dry, but once again, some of us will get to 25 degrees. So sun cream needs to be on and keep hydrated. UV levels high, pollen levels high as well. The orange is on the map indicating that temperatures will stay above average as we head right throughout this week. We're looking ahead to the weekend already. A good friend of mine is getting married. It's going to be dry, fine, settled and warm. I've done my job for once. That's the forecast.
That's great that there's sun for the wedding. I'm doing the Manchester Half Marathon on Sunday, though, so I was hoping that it would cool down.
Oh, you'll be sweating. Good luck if you're doing that.
Thank you. Good night.